All right. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm happy to have you here. My name is Ryan Harrison. I am the Director of Housing for the College for Creative Studies. I want to give you a little bit of background about who I am. I went to Western Michigan University. I'm a Bronco. I got my undergrad in psychology, and then I got my master's degree in education counseling. In an effort to pay for that experience, I was a resident assistant for 4 years, and then I was an assistant hall director for 2 years, and then I moved up to I was kind of like a hybrid position where I supervised my own building, but I was still a grad assistant. I was hired in 2013 as a hall director here at CCS, and then a couple months later, I got the directorship when our director left, and I've been in this position ever since. So, yeah, July of this year will be my 11th year. So anyway, that's a little bit about me. Um, I am joined by Cameron, who is one of our resident assistants. Cam, I believe this is Cam's second year in the position. He's wonderful at it. I couldn't be more thankful to have such a talented teammate with me tonight. Um, okay, so I am going to dive right in and talk to you about the two building options first. That seems to be the thing that people are most interested about, and kind of get a nice look at what your experience at CCS here could be. Um, Perfect, wonderful. Okay, so so we have two buildings on campus. One is on the Ford campus, and that's the Art Center building. This is our more traditional apartment style. And so, as an incoming student, you would have an option for a 4-person unit or a 6-person unit. The 4-person units have 2 bedrooms, a living room, a dining room, I'm sorry, not a dining room. You'll have a kitchen and a living space, and then you'd have 1 bathroom that would be shared by the 4 people in that room. Or a 6-person unit, which is a living room, a kitchen, and 3 bedrooms, and all of our 6-person units have 2 bathrooms. The images you see here, the image on the left is one of our 4-person units. The image on the right is one of our 6-person units. You can see the living room here with the kitchen on the right. I don't know if you can see my mouse as well. But then there's a bedroom here, and a bedroom here. And then the bathrooms are kind of wrapped down this hallway. Here's another couple images of our rooms. This is another 6-person unit over here with bedroom 1, 2, and 3. The photographer is standing in the kitchen, and then there's 1 bathroom over here and another bathroom over here. And then this image over here is what a traditional bedroom would look like. You would share a bedroom with 1 other person, and yeah, it's a pretty cozy space. So a little bit more about the Art Center building. There are 11 floors. Each floor has 1 RA. There's about 30 people per floor. And then the Art Center building also has a live-in professional, which is, her name is Rebecca Hanna. She also has her master's in higher education. And, she's here 24 hours for coverage, just in case, any situation rises above the level of a resident assistant. Both buildings have a workout space, but this is the Art Center building's workout room here on the left. And then there's some social space and a little bit of workspace in the Art Center building as well. The vast majority of the amenities in the ACB are smaller and more concentrated, because the majority of that space was devoted to making the apartments, larger and more livable. So most of the time, students in the Art Center building, they'll come out into the public spaces, but for the most part, kind of a lot of socializing happens within their room. All right. Okay. The other building that we have is the Taubman Center, which is 1 building, but half of that building is dedicated to housing. This is our more traditional dormitory style. The vast majority of the rooms in The Taubman Center are about 500 square feet, and you'd have roughly three, well, the vast majority have three students who live in that space. Both of these rooms are almost carbon copies of each other. They pretty much all look the same. Three people, one private bathroom. There is not a kitchen in the Taubman Center. However, there is a full cafeteria space on the second floor. So students would just need to take the elevator down and then go up the stairs to the cafeteria side. Now, the Taubman Center, in terms of amenities, oh, I'm sorry, this picture here, these are the 4-person units. The corner rooms on each floor are 4-person spaces. There are only 2 of them per floor. So not very popular, but these corner sizes are a little bit bigger and can accommodate 1 additional student. Okay, so the thing about the Taubman Center is the dorms are a little smaller. However, the amenities are much larger. So in the TC, it's basically a rectangle where the middle is community space, and it's surrounded on the outside by the living spaces. And so we have 5 floors in the Taubman. Each floor has 2 RAs because there's roughly 60 students per floor, and we try to keep the ratio around 1 RA to about 30 students. So on each floor, there is a soft seating space in which we try not to put tables in those rooms because we want students to not bring their work in there. That room is for socializing, watching TV, playing board games, being fun, being loud, being, not conducive to an educational environment. And then each of the floors also has a space dedicated specifically for work. So those rooms are not carpeted. So some people go in there for charcoal or paints or whatever they need. And that room is dedicated to the educational environment. So that room is expected to stay rather quiet, and so that people can focus on their work. Finally, the other part of the Taubman Center that we're very proud of is each floor has a different unique space. And in these pictures, you can see 2 of them. One of them is obviously a workout space over here, which only Taubman Center housing students have access to. External students are not able to use it, nor are employees other than housing employees are able to go in there as well. Excuse me. Okay, so what you see here is our movie theater space. That's another one of the unique spaces. We have a billiards and ping pong space. We have one room that's just tables and desks for extra. When we get into like midterms and finals, sometimes we find that we don't have quite enough workspaces on each of the floors. So we have one additional room which is just tables, and then finally we have like a meeting space, which is more for having large meetings. We have groups that check it out to have large meetings, etc. So that's the Taubman. The Taubman also does have a live-in professional. Her name is Ann Hawkins. She too has her master's in higher education, and both of them have been here. I believe Rebecca is starting her 5th year, and Ann is starting her 9th year. We're a pretty cohesive group. We know each other very well. We've worked with each other a long time, and we're very proud of the program that we've put together. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is how do you get into housing? So we are on the 2nd year of our new housing management software, which is called Mercury. And to access your housing application, once you've made your deposit to come to school here, you'll have access to your Access Manager. And once you are in your Access Manager, there's a link that says Mercury Housing Application. And that's how you're going to get to this website. Fortunately, it's already synced with our information at CCS, so it will already have a lot of your demographic information loaded for you, so you don't have to enter that stuff. But what you'll be able to do here is you'll tell us a little bit about who you are, what your needs are, if you have any ADA needs, if you have any allergies that we need to be aware of. We ask you a couple of questions that talk about what type of roommate you are and what type of roommate you might be looking for. And so it kind of gets uh, some living information, and that comes in a little bit later on why. Um, and then so then you'll fill all that stuff in. You'll sign the housing agreement. There is a $300 first housing payment. This is not a fee. I have it right there in parentheses. It's not a fee. It's just $300 of your inevitable total. So if the total is $4,000, you'll make your $300 payment. And then when it comes time to pay for housing in August, your bill will be $3,700. So again, not a fee. It's just basically an initial commitment to housing. Okay, so you've made your application, you've filled in your demographic information, and you've made your $300 first payment. Once you've made that payment, you would then have the option to create a roommate group or join a roommate group. But let's just say like you and your friend from high school both really want to live together. Then once you both have completed the app and made your payment, then you'll be able to make a roommate group in which, I would want to live with Cameron. So I make the group, I invite Cameron, Cameron accepts the invitation, and now we're locked in as roommates. And then when you get IntelliSigned, which we'll talk about very soon, that system will look at the two of us as one person and place us together as long as there is space for the two of us to be placed. So I've mentioned IntelliSign, and so I've talked about roommate groups, but also IntelliSign is one of our favorite new features about Mercury. And basically what IntelliSign does is it takes a look at those questions that we asked you about living together. And the questions that we picked are based on the most common challenges that we see in housing since we've started working here. So we ask about guests, we ask about sharing belongings. We talk about bedtime, those types of things. And so this system takes what you said and tries to find your ideal roommates as most efficiently as it can. Certainly not perfect. It's not going to erase the possibility of having a roommate disagreement, certainly. But it's got a pretty high, it's got a pretty good ratio. It really does a good job of placing people together. So once you've done all that, the other nice thing about our system is once we run placement, and we run a placement pretty much every 2 to 4 weeks, and we'll run a placement, we'll let you know that it's happened, and you'll get your roommate's name and contact information immediately. You'll be able to see the room that you're placed in, as well as your roommate's names and contact information if they left it. If they haven't left anything, then you can always type their name into our CCS email portal, and it will populate their email for you. And then the last thing we say is, most students have social media. So if you do a little bit of searching, you may have an opportunity to find them. So that's Mercury. That's our new housing application software. Okay, so we have a page on the College for Creative Studies website. If you do life at CCS and then you do living on campus, you can see the address right at the top. You'll find some of our important housing documentation. The first one that you see on there is the housing information packet. This is kind of our housing Bible, if you would. The way that we have it organized is it's organized by information that we think you need on day one of arriving at CCS. And that talks about what does move-in look like, where can you find food, how do you get groceries, how do you get transportation, and then it kind of molds into then your next week, and then kind of policy information that you want to be aware of. We have recommendations on the types of things you should bring to campus, the types of things we suggest that you don't bring. We also have some things that are not allowed on campus, so you're going to want to make sure you're familiar with that as well. This page also has our emotional support animal policy and our gender neutral housing policy. The few quick things that I'll say about that are emotional support animals are different than pets. Some people say, how do I bring my pet? We do not allow pets on campus, but we are, legally obligated to allow students to bring their emotional support animals. An emotional support animal is an animal that has been prescribed by a doctor as a part of continuing treatment. And so if you have an emotional support animal and would like to register that with me, you would need to email me a letter from your doctor outlining your need, as well as updated vet records. And all of the language that needs to be in the doctor's note can be found on this website. And then our gender neutral housing policy. So this is a question that I get quite a bit. And what I would say is we do have gender neutral housing spaces on campus available for students. They are only by request. So if you sign up for housing, our system will not place you. Well, let me say it differently. Our system is designed to take your legal gender and it puts you into your legal gender. So you'll be placed with other people who match your legal gender. If you have a different need than what's on, your driver's license or your state ID, you need to reach out to me and we can talk about what we have available and find the best space on campus for you. We do have gender neutral spaces on campus, which are where basically students are saying gender is not a part of my requirement when it comes to living on campus. So that's not me saying that, men and men, women and women, we basically are saying the labels are gone. However you identify is fine and your choice and your privacy, but the gender neutral space is wiping away the requirements of staying with your legal gender. So you will never be placed randomly. It has to be by request. But if you do have that request, send me an email and let's talk about it, and we can look over our options. The last thing that I would just highlight that's on this page is if you're having some issues with Mercury, there is a video that I recorded that kind of walks you through the process and talks about the different spaces on that page that are important for you to know. So if you are feeling like it's a little complicated, the video is probably like 10 or 15 minutes, but my opinion, helpful. So I hope it is. Okay. The next portion that we have is living off campus, because we do still have a big commuting demographic on campus. We at CCS, unfortunately, do not offer off-campus housing. However, we do have some search tools to help you on our site. We have also had like local real estate groups who have reached out to us that say, we're within 15 or 20 minutes. And so we've listed all the ones, we've looked through those websites, or we've talked with them, or we've toured them. We've done some type of interacting with these groups. And so at least the ones that are specifically for like one apartment complex. We also have some search tools. Those are just tools to look at what's available. And, whatever's on those sites, we have not screened or discussed or looked over their websites or anything like that. But again, we do have a couple tools to help you look around. And if they, if they have a particular thing that looks appropriate for us, or like, hey, these people are 5 or 10 minutes away, or hey, these people are, predominantly college students, we've got a little synopsis on each that kind of highlights what we think you might be interested in. So yeah, off-campus housing page on the website. Cool. Okay, so the next topic is dining, which is another important one for students. So we do have kind of 4 main points of food contact between both campuses. On the Taubman Center campus, we have one large cafeteria, which is what I had spoke about earlier. But they make the largest variety of food. They have a soup and salad bar every day. There's a stir fry station. There's a pizza station. There's a grill area. There's a sandwich station, and there's a special station. So that's the one that I think has the biggest selection. It is the one we invest in the most. So that's the one we kind of point students to. Especially important for the resident students, as they don't have kitchens in the Taubman Center. That's why the Ford campus is a little less popular with the Art Center building students, because most of those students make their own food. There is a cafeteria on the Ford campus that does have specials every day, and it also has a sandwich. It also has a sandwich station, and then they have daily prepared meals like breakfast sandwiches and cold sandwiches. Those are in like refrigerators that you can kind of grab and go. Cups of fruit, cups of vegetables and hummus, that type of stuff. Um, so that would be in the smaller cafeteria. And then each campus has a 24-hour, we call them like vending spaces, but um, they're more like kind of large rooms where you can, we have like a wall of, um, snacks and beef jerky and cookie, snacks. I guess snacks is the right word. But then the other side of the wall has big refrigerators that also have prepared meals, prepared sandwiches, things that they make in the cafeteria and then wrap up and sell them in the 24-hour vending spaces. So if you're up working at 3 a.m., you can still go to one of these spaces and get some food in your belly. So yeah, our meal plan sizes have risen since last year. We've found that the price point that we originally had for students was not meeting the needs. We had set those prices when I started working here, and this was the first time we had updated the fee for dining dollars. And food costs and stuff have gone up since. So this better reflects the experience of what students are eating on campus per semester. If you're a smaller eater, then I would recommend the smaller dining option. But if you're a bigger eater, the larger option would be appropriate for you. A couple things that I will say are a meal plan is not required if you are living in the Art Center building. A meal plan is required if you live in the Taubman. So if you sign up for the housing application and you say, I don't want a meal plan, and you get placed in the Taubman, a small meal plan will be added to your account. The other thing that I will say is the meal plan agreement is for the academic school year and not per semester. So we put these dining dollar amounts on your card at the beginning of each semester, and you're charged at the beginning of each semester for them. But it's not a situation where you can just do the fall and then let that last through. It's a both semester agreement. Um, and any dining dollar that is not used in fall will roll over to winter. Any dining dollar that is not used by the end of winter will be forfeit. All right. So that is the dining policy. Wonderful. Okay. The next question that we typically get is about safety on campus. We are very proud, one of the safest college campuses in Michigan. We have 24-hour, 7 days a week security staff that's on campus, as well as a shuttle that runs back and forth between both buildings. As long as there is a student who lives on campus, those shuttles will be running between campuses. So you'll never have to walk or Uber or whatever to the other campus. We'll take you over there. They run about every 7 to 12 minutes. If you're staying here for like a break and they're not running, all you need to do is speak with security, and they'll get it to run back and forth to pick you up. The other thing that we're proud of is we have partnered with Wayne State's University Police. Those are all sworn in police officers. They're not campus security guards. They are sworn in officers. Their response time to CCS is like less than 2 minutes, whereas the city of Detroit can be a little bit longer than that. The Wayne State police are excellent. I've worked with them before. They're here in a heartbeat, and they're here to help. We're proud of that, and it keeps our students safe. The other thing that I want to talk about is our 5 security steps to get to a student room. So on both campuses, if you are a person on the street, first off, there are, like I said, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week security team who are watching cameras and, kind of keeping an eye out for things that may look out of the ordinary, as well as both campuses have people who are doing rounds at all times, walking. And yeah, so always a security presence. We also have those big blue buttons that are a lot very prominent on the Ford campus, but also a couple in the Taubman Center as well. Just if you're feeling uncomfortable, unsafe, someone's if you feel like someone's getting too close, you can hit that button. Security immediately will know where that button is. They'll send someone on the way, and there's a speaker box there that you can speak to as well. So that would be security step one. Step two is your student ID badge has your picture on it and the building that you belong to. So that badge is a swipe badge, so it will buzz you into the front doors of both buildings. Once you've swiped into the building, there's a 24 hours a day, 7 days a week security guard who is waiting at the front of both of those buildings. And the role of each of those people is going to be to look at your ID card and identify the picture matches the person who's holding the ID card and that that person belongs in that building. They do this all eight or not, all year, all 9 months that you're here at CCS. And they want to make sure, no matter how friendly they are with you, they are going to look at your ID badge and make sure that you belong here. Some students get a little frustrated with that process, but I say, like, this is here to keep you safe and comfortable, and we're proud that we value safety in that way. You then need to use that same ID badge once you get past the security guard to access the elevators or staircases up to the student rooms. So that would be step number 1, 2, 3, 4. That gets you up the elevator into the hallway, and then you need your room key to access as well. In the Taubman Center, that will be your ID card, and in the Art Center building, there will be a key issued to you for that room. Whew, man, I've said a lot. So I'm going to turn it over to Cameron to talk about a little bit about his experience as a student, both as a resident before he was an RA, and a little bit about his experience as an RA, as well as some of the things he is trained to do here. So Cameron, are you here?
Hello.
He's here. All right.
Hi. Can you all see me
Take it
right
away.
now? All good? Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Cameron Sherman. I am the RA for the 6th floor of the ACD. This is my second year on staff. And I guess I'll be answering some of the questions and kind of like giving you my firsthand experience. Starting off with, tell us your best memory as a resident. I have a good one. So a little backstory for this one is it happened freshman year. It happened with like 4 of my roommates. We still talk today. We still comment on Instagram. We still hang out once in a while. It's great. Best memory, this happened in freshman year. I was sleeping in my room. I was sleeping a little bit, and I just wake up to hearing singing. And I'm just thinking to myself, what's going on out there, right? I'm thinking, okay, someone's playing the radio, whatever. No, I ended up walking out my room and finding 4 of my roommates singing I Got Friends on the Other Side from Princess and the Frog. Now, I don't know if you guys heard that song, but it's a jam, and it was a pleasant wake-up call because I ended up going to class like 15 minutes later. Okay. Tell us about living in an artistic community. So, first off, it's great. I'm constantly improving my work with the help of my fellow artists. I'm constantly getting like that criticism or critique, and great opportunities are constantly shared with me, even by like friends I've known that actually graduated already. I still get links to all these other companies that are currently hiring right now. Like, it's great. We still keep in contact, and it's very much of like, it's not cutting each other down. It's pushing each other forward, helping each other get to where we want to go. Next one. What advice do you have about finding a community on campus? Keep your eyes open. If you just pay attention to the weekly student emails, they'll give you tons of opportunities, events that's happening on campus, what other programs are going on, clubs. It is honestly very difficult to not be involved with school or that campus lifestyle. And it's also a great way of making friends. Okay, next one. Tell us about your role as an RA. What are you trained to do? Um, I see it as a bridge between CCS and its residents. We are there to listen to residents, help mediate when needed, and direct them to campus resources that could be applicable. For instance, like the wellness center, if you just seem like you need that time to talk to someone. We also check on residents monthly and plan events to engage them in campus life. Talking about, speaking of programs, tell us about two programs you are proud of. So I have two. One happened my first year on RA staff. I was our RA assistant, and one that just happened this past month. The first one was called Drinks Around the World. We had beverages from different countries, all non-alcoholic beverages that we made from scratch, and just sat around the circle of the ACB, giving out cups, giving fun facts like what were the fruits that were used in it, what were the ingredients, what was the country's like national fruit, national beverage, just fun facts to keep it educational but also eventful. And the most recent one, which was a very good success, was we recently did an event with Pine Knob that allowed us to bring a group of students to go skiing. They were provided with equipment, training, and access to one of the hills, and it was all done. We managed to get the price down to like 20 to 40 bucks, which originally was around anywhere from 60 to 100. So we were able to get that good discount, and from everyone I've heard and talked to about, it was a great success and everybody had a great time.
Shared when you were talking about that, Cameron, that my son, I think graduated from CCS in December of 2019, and he had one of those rooms in the ACB that had 6 students in it his freshman year. And he is literally still very good friends with those students. One of them, he was a freshman, and one of them was a senior that year, and that's still one of his good friends, like very, very good friends. They stay in touch all the time. So it's kind of cool.
It's funny you mentioned that. One of my roommates was actually a senior. He graduated. He's currently doing like fine art, doing paintings for galleries and stuff like that. And I spend time like once in a while to like catch up with him and stuff like that. But yeah, he was also illustration. I got like that firsthand experience talking to someone who's like on their way out. And
yeah,
it was just amazing.
Do any of you guys have any questions for Ryan or Cameron? Or just about housing in general? Oh, here we go. Can students change from one building to the other, for example, second semester or next year? Good question.
Yeah, good question. So you just have to reach out to me and put that request in. We can talk about it. It really comes down to availability. Each year of placement is a new year of placement. And so every year I'll send an email out that says time to get your application in, time to make your payment, and then we run it. So every year is fresh, and whatever happened last year has no bearing on what happens the year after.
Any other questions? You guys have got to have some questions. I will say also that as an admissions counselor, I share that video Ryan referenced on how to use the Mercury system a lot with students. I do think it is very short. I think it's really helpful before you go through the process to just watch that on our website. The other thing I shared at the beginning, I'm not sure if you guys all saw that, is just a quick FYI that once you send in your enrollment deposit, you have to send that in first. It will take about 3 business days before you will actually be able to have access to the Mercury housing application system.
Good tip.
And then I don't know if you saw that one, Ryan. When students reapply for housing, do they change rooms or keep the same? Maria, I'm assuming you mean like for the next year. I would assume that's what you mean on the reapply for housing. So Ryan, you can answer that one. Yes, she said yes.
Yeah, they are not related. So when students reapply for housing, do they change rooms? Typically, they change rooms. So basically, our system it takes a look at all the applications that we have, and then it randomly picks them from there and starts divvying up beds. So you do have an option to tell the system, I prefer a 4-person ACB, a 6-person ACB, a 3 or a 4-person Taubman. Those are your 4 options. And so it will first look to give you your first option. If it's not, it'll go to the second, and you know what I mean? So it would be rare and unlikely if you got the same exact room, but as long as you are filling in the application on time, the first group of placed students from this year, I think everyone got their first or second choice. Everyone in our second placement, the percentages were a little lower, but still pretty high. Most people got their first or second choice. So the key is you got to be prompt. The people who apply in like April and May, it's a little bit harder. Oh, the one thing I will say, which I don't think I did a good job of explaining, is incoming students have reserved beds. So there's a handful of reserved beds in the Art Center building. The majority of the freshman spaces are in the Taubman Center, but they're reserved only for you. And that's important because 1, our returners sign up very quickly. And 2, because of the FAFSA challenges, we didn't want the buildings to be full before you even made your decision to come here. So you will only be competing with other incoming students for those beds, not all of our students, right? So it's okay to be patient. Housing is still waiting for you.
Please feel free to reach out to the admissions office if you have any questions. Oh, good question. Do students bring guests to their building? That's a good question.
Oh, yeah. Cameron, do you want to tell them about the guest policy?
Sure, I can. So yes, you are allowed to have guests. For the ACB, you can come in. They can stay for, I believe, it's up to 3 days at most, if I remember correctly. And I think you can sign in 1 to 2, 3. It really depends on like how big the room is and how accessible it is. You just try to keep. If, for instance, when you sign in, you'll hand over a form of ID, whether that's a license or, for instance, if you're from out of country, maybe like a passport or something to hold on to while they
those are the only 2 options. Yep.
Yes.
You nailed it. Yes, only 2 options: passport or legal ID. If you have anything else, it won't count, including like if you bring like a Michigan State ID, no good. Has to be a legal ID.
Yeah, sadly, Sam's Club memberships don't work. I've tried it, just
yeah,
don't work.
And you have to be 18.
Yes, and if you're under the age of 18, you need to have written permission and let us know from the legal guardian.
And you have to be related if you're under 18.
Brian, Cameron mentioned that was for the ACB. Is the policy any different in the Taubman Center?
No, the policy is the same. The amount of guests, we don't actually have a cap on that. But if you check in like 6 people, security is going to let our RAs know that you may be having a party. So, it doesn't happen too often, but, just in case.
It's also probably a really good idea to check with your roommates as well.
Yes, that's right.
Looks like we don't have any more questions, Ryan and Cameron. So I am going to say thank you very much. Again, if you guys have any other questions, you can reach out to the admissions office and we can definitely put you in touch with whoever it is you need to speak to. So thank you guys very much for joining us this evening. And I will wish you all good luck.